Hi, everyone, and welcome along to this very special broadcast. I am really looking forward to today's conversation with the CEO and founder of OneFitStop, Jarron Aizen. Jarron, it's great to see you again.
Hi, Chantel. Great to be back with you.
Now, we caught up only about 4 weeks ago since we're recording this, and obviously a lot has happened all over the world during that time. Now, last time we caught up, we were talking about just how busy things have been at OneFitStop, and you had done a lot of developments with the product, and you had launched an app, and there was lots of great stuff happening. Tell us what has been happening with the team at OneFitStop over the last 4 weeks.
It's been an incredible response over the last couple of weeks during COVID. And we've seen all of our brands, pretty much every single brand, adopt these new technologies for producing online digital content on demand or doing live streaming through our direct integration to Zoom, or even some of our brands are doing high quality broadcasts, multiple camera feeds, audio feeds, a full production, green screening, the works. It's been phenomenal to see how brands have then taken the infrastructure that we have built and then created their own unique new digital engagement worlds behind it.
Yeah, I've got to admit, like I have been interviewing a lot of operators over the last couple of weeks or right throughout COVID-19, and it's just been fascinating to hear about and to see what they have done in their businesses, as you say, to really adapt to the situation that they've been in. And I know that you've been able to work with many of them over that time. So give us an example of maybe one of the clubs that you've worked with and what they've been able to do to transform or to, I guess, evolve their business during COVID-19.
Yeah, definitely. I'm happy to share some examples. Let's take as a case a brand called KX Pilates. They have over 60 Pilates locations in their network. What they did was they initiated through our content management suite on-demand video content and categorized it into different categories. They made sure that anyone with a pack on their account could access those digital content and as well as purchase new access to gain access to these areas in the application. And along with that, they started to do live streaming classes. I know sometimes they've had over 350 people join a live Zoom session through OFS. OneFitStop's booking at any given time, which has been a phenomenal experience to see, like, I think 20 odd pages of Zoom, videos on at the same time. And then, we've had other brands such as, for example, Infinite Cycle, who have used our digital streaming modules. They're the ones who set up the green screen and 2 camera feeds, mic feed, audio feeds, and they're doing a high quality broadcast to their network via our now broadcasting tools. And all of it can be Chromecasted to the TV. So generally everyone's accessing it on their mobile apps, and then they're just hitting the cast button and they're accessing it after that point through the TVs.
Jarron, it's really interesting because we have seen a lot of businesses adapt and introduce online options for their members over the last kind of 8 weeks or so. But we're now recording this towards the end of May, and I know that a number of places across the world are starting to talk about reopening. Some are reopening and some are moving back towards their brick and mortar businesses. So in your opinion and in your experience, what would you say is the real key factors for those businesses to continue doing like a digital and a bricks and mortar approach? How can they actually make that successful in the future?
I think, our whole premise around how do we use technology wisely through COVID was the way we built the technology, the way we deployed it with customers. It was not just a Band-Aid solution, but it was also not digital wasn't a replacement to physical either. And with that in our mind the entire time, it was, how does this coexist moving forward post-COVID? Like, whilst COVID's here and the doors are shut, sure, digital is the only mode of interaction, but when the doors reopen, what is it going to look like? How does it coexist? And so our belief is that the digital engagement, whether it's on-demand, articles, recipes, videos, and even live classes as an ongoing operation, is here to stay, but it's here to stay and coexist, meaning that it needs to be presented to the users, then that user experience needs to be flawless. It needs to be one app, one login, one membership potentially that gives access to multiple services. And the only way that you can achieve that is through a system that can layer in all these components to that single user experience, that branded app, let's say, rather than taking on this add-on and this add-on and this add-on, sign up here, sign up there, or download 2 apps. That's not really our approach. And it's unifying this user experience, which will then allow high adoption rates. I mean, it's all great to have such amazing digital content, but if users aren't watching it and you're not getting the stats on what the usage was, then you can't really measure the effectiveness of it in the network. So that's our whole premise now. And as brands start to open up their doors, we're seeing them plan the next phase of what digital looks like coexisting. And so whether it's running a 6-week challenge and having timed release of content every week, whether it's articles, recipes, videos, challenges, member news, all sorts of things that this whole digital world can now bring, or it's upsell opportunities, a pack-based business trying to sell memberships now to get people onto the recurring debits that then if they sign on to the memberships, they also get access to the digital content and they're using it as an upsell mechanism. And so I think that there are going to be even more amazing creative techniques that businesses use to add and drive value through the digital world, not change their business models altogether.
I love that term that you use, that coexist term, because it makes a lot of sense. So many operators out there have gone to the effort of getting their digital content up and running and really trying to make that work. But that coexist is really the key to moving forward. And I particularly wanted to acknowledge what you said about just creating that seamless user experience. I think we all know as consumers of different products how important it is to have one place to go in and log into, one place to get our content, our information, our bookings. So it makes sense that our gym members would want exactly that experience, a nice, seamless customer experience when they're dealing with our facilities out there. Now, one of the things you mentioned there, of course, Jarron, was starting to reopen the doors, starting to move back into maybe doing some training within our facilities around there. What role would you say tech actually plays when it comes to aligning with that physical distancing rules that are now in place? How does technology actually assist with that?
The main methods that we're seeing that you can use technology to innovate in these areas is definitely on check-in and making sure that the users are compliant with certain new policies or protocols. We're seeing brands come up with their new policies and their new, reopening strategies. And generally those that are turning up into the doors for the first time are also highly engaged. They know that they may need to re-agree to put new policies. And it's a great opportunity to align this with technology and actually use it to drive check-in in a meaningful way. So for example, one of the things that we're working on now is just almost set for release is upon check-in, we didn't want to go with like a kiosk where everyone, again, communal devices, we wanted to move away from that. Everyone's got BYO device, you've got a branded app on your phone. So essentially when you arrive at the facility, you can check in and then you can automate a questionnaire like, have you been overseas in the last 14 days? Do you have a headache? And all that kind of stuff. And attaches these questionnaire results to your profile on that check-in record to make sure that it's compliant every time they check in. Or maybe there is a new gym policy, like actual terms and conditions that upon check-in, it will ask them to re-agree to it. And so we want it to be self-service, but also make sure that they're compliant every single time they check in. And not only that, we're seeing different use cases now of, okay, how can we restrict 20 check-ins to a big box facility at the same time and throttling the number of people that can come in and come out, check in and check out. And so all of these components are now coming in through the technology to help drive compliance and also help make sure that you're monitoring everything from an auditing perspective to make sure that you are within the bounds of all the different state and country regulations that are very different wherever the gym and facility is operational.
I really think that answers so many of the needs of our operators out there right now, because I know a lot of the conversations that are taking place are, how do we monitor the numbers in the facility? And I love that option of being able to include like a questionnaire or something that attaches to the member profile so that you can cross-check and just go back and make sure that they're compliant or make sure that they're following the framework that we're implementing for our specific facility. So Jarron, it sounds like it has been an extremely busy couple of months for all of the team there at OneFitStop. So before we sign off for today's update, are there any last messages that you want to give to the listeners out there today?
Yeah, look, we'd love to hear from any listener that follows Fitness Business Podcast and would like to inquire about OneFitStop. We're all about driving innovation through technology, supporting the fitness industry. We just focus on the fitness sector, and we love hearing about all your ideas as well. Like you guys drive our product, you guys drive our innovation. And so, we're always excited to open up new conversations. So please do get in contact with us at onefitstop.com, and we'd love to chat then.
Absolutely, Jarron. Thank you so much. And I've got to say, for anyone that missed the last update that Jarron and I did together, I want to encourage you to go back and watch it. I'm going to put a link in the video below here. And the reason is, one of my favorite parts of that was when we took a look at the actual screenshots of OneFitStop and we're able to see just what that user experience looks like and feels like. I think that's a really important factor to understanding just how this can be used in your own gym environment. So I want to encourage everyone to go and take a look at that if you missed that previous interview. But of course, as Jarron said, reach out to the team at onefitstop.com. Jarron, always a pleasure to catch up with you. Thank you for your time today.
Thanks, Chantel.